Sup Shredders, my name is Logan aka Spiderhands and welcome to an SP Reviews where today we have ourselves a track from an act named Bex Bright titled Will You. And if we switch over to here, I first of all am familiar with Bex Bright's work. I typically enjoy my time with it. It's been fun watching their journey and seeing where they go with it. We're going to be listening through this track from start till finish and we're going to hear what we think. Let's go. What do we got? Interesting progression here.
I see the moon, I see the stars, I see the stars shining bright on you. I hear your voice in the dark, guiding me towards you. I love when we sing all our favorite songs. I can stay with you until the sun comes up. I love when we sing all our favorite songs. I can stay with you until...
Shout out for the fact that we went down. We went down for the verse. We had those bright little perky synth parts there with an unconventional yet really alluring passage there with the different note choices in that melody there. And just to go down to the bass with the vocals on top was so eloquently staged. And we can sing. We're really well controlled. You could have potentially, and again, don't take this as me saying it's not a good track, because I think it's a wonderful track. I'm wondering if there could have potentially been some further development or an extra layer going into the next part. That might be occurring as soon as I press the start page, but aside from that, really sick drop there. It's nice to integrate the two different ideas initially into the same part. Oh, sick, chopping it up.
I was hoping for someone to rescue me from the sadness, and suddenly you arrive and everything becomes happiness. And I start to feel so good, so good. I know that your feelings are real, are true. I'm always a moment with you, yeah. When you hug me, when you love me, when you look me, I know you're falling in love when you smile and when you touch me, when you're happy, when you hug me, when you kiss me, when you look me. I know you're falling in love when you smile and when you touch me, when you're happy, when you hey.
Is there like a little bit of a buzz on some of those kicks? It sounds like it's a little bit like a sound like that. I'm not sure if I like that sound or not. I also might be tripping, but aside from that, it's really...
When you look me, I know you're falling in love when you smile and when you touch me, when you're happy, when you hug me, when you kiss me, when you look me. I know you're falling in love when you smile and when you touch me, when you're happy, when you hey.
Oh, it stopped. Oh, it stopped. Did that... Oh, okay. Oh, it stopped. Did they cut it early before sending it away? Okay, I mean, aside from that, like it's okay, let's move on. Really great track though. I do like the vast majority of it. And welcome to the conclusion of my review of this track from an act named Bex Bright titled Will You. Now, what do I think this track is about? I think it's about someone who is asking their respective other, or someone who could be a prospective other, are you going to love me or are you going to hurt me? Should I be taking this risk with you? Is it worth it, basically? I think they're trying to sort of gauge out whether the risk reward is there. And I think there's something really kind of... I like it. I think it's something that's like fundamentally very accessible to a lot of people. And I can imagine there's going to be an audience with it. Basically because of the fact that, unless you are someone who's never fallen in love or never been loved, it's rare that you wouldn't have experienced that. So I think the accessibility to this track is really high in regards to like listeners and stuff like that. I think that people who are already familiar with Bex Bright stuff are going to listen to this and think, yeah, no, I can dig this too. The vocal performance is good. I'm really happy with the exploration of the different melodies within the verse and chorus parts. The hook is distinctive. And there are some nice legato passages, and there's a sense of real smoothness to the verse parts, I think, as well. There's just solid vocal technique and a hidden chest voice there. And we really had our fundamentals down. And I have no complaints about that whatsoever. I think the vocals were tight. We had a relatively neutral performance. Like, there was dedication and passion there, but it's like, I don't know if we were necessarily really trying to get too I don't think we were trying to be too performative about it, in a sense. I don't think we were trying to sort of emote too much like we were really sort of stressing out about the situation, or that I was super angsty about it. Like in a lot of sort of like contemporary music, there's just this sense of really kind of trying to maintain a sort of a cool, calm demeanor whilst trying to sort of say these things. It works. Makes it easy to listen to because, who wants someone on the soapbox, right? But that's just something I'm pointing out, just ironically, something I'm pointing out. But still really solid. I think that the way we sung emotively and performatively works for the track. And the song at 3 minutes 41 is well fleshed out. I think the use of a relative minimalist sort of arrangement there with the verses, the hooks, and the drop sections there without any vocals there, but it's sort of the chopped synths was good. Because we had synths, we had like dun 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 dun, we had that melodic hook on top, we had the bass down the bottom, we had drums, and we had the ooh kind of stuff down there. I know that probably peaked in the mic, I apologize, the kind of oofs on the side. We didn't have a lot else, and I think it was because we wanted to not overcomplicate an arrangement that didn't necessarily need that. It might have been cool to have had like more added to the second hook if we weren't going to necessarily add more to the end of the first, simply just as like a kind of a, I don't know, it's like a, it's like a reward to the listener for getting through the track. Again, not because I think it's done badly, it's more because people have really kind of limited attention spans nowadays, and so it can be really good to add something different to that second hook so that people are like, oh, I got it, there's a new thing, and just people stay until the end. It's intrigue and interest, and it was an interesting track regardless. It's just again things I'm just noting just out of just transparency. The bass was nice and sort of controlled with the root notes. The synths, they were arpeggiating and sort of fluttering around on top, staged nicely on top of the bass and worked well with the vocals. When they were there in the hook section, they weren't there in the verse. It was nice to have the vocals and the bass on top, bass down the bottom, should I say. Things were nicely staged in the frequency spectrum. Things weren't interrupting because due to the minimalism of the arrangement, the drums were nice and tight and punchy and sidechained neatly within the mix. Overall, because of the way things were stacked, they amalgamated really nicely. It was very smooth. There was dynamic range. Things were not the same loudness. Things came down in the verse and were a bit sort of more intense in the hook, though, but not too much. But I think that's a deliberate thing. We wanted to keep it relatively smooth whilst incorporating, taking away things just simply for the sake of manipulating that perceived loudness, that dynamic range. The theme overall was solid, I think. It was complicated and it sort of illustrated, I think, what we were trying to do with the story that we were telling there, so I think that works. You could have, I don't think you needed to do anything differently with the theme. For what we had with the consistency of it compositionally, we established elements we were happy with, and then they did suit the theme or the mood of the theme. and we had it. It was just a solid theme. I think the motif, the melodic motif, I think the melodic motif at the start was memorable and really pretty. And when the vocals came in to talk over at the verse part, it made a lot of sense. Yeah, the bass synths changing in that second half of the drop was neat as well. If I didn't mention that already, it was just nice to have a cut, a direction, sort of like pseudo kind of dubstep-ish kind of vibe to that. Oh, it could be kind of cool to do like a dubstep remix of this if someone did that. I think because you got the trap elements, but you could potentially go heavier with it. But you know, again, it's all good. The recording, studio mixing, and mastering was good. I think the only thing I'd talk about was just again for the sake of transparency, it's just at the end. I think we cut things a little bit too short. Might have been nice to have either had things sort of fade out with like a repeated delay thing, or to have had a fade out or something like that if we wanted to keep the motif moving. But outside of that, it was good. I think that the vocals had a great presence in the mix. They were nicely controlled there. The singer could clearly sing. They sat well on top of the bass, beside the synths, and alongside the drums. There was no issues whatsoever with the leveling of the mix. Things were nicely controlled in the frequency spectrum as well as nice and wide in the stereo field. There was a little bit of kind of, I don't know whether that was an effect or like a little bit of gain, like a little bit of sort of buzzing at some parts. There were some of the hits there, but I think that was kind of a thing either with like the 808s or something like that where they can kind of come in a bit hot, or that was like a deliberate sound within it, a bit of gain or a bit of crunch to it. So if that's the case, I mean, either way, it's fine. It wasn't distracting. It's just stuff I'm noticing. But there was dynamic range, so things were not the same loudness all the time. They came up and down, and without being too sort of, without pumping or anything like that, you know. So the bus compression and limiting was handled. It was nice and loud without being too much. And effectively, this is my review of this track from an act named Bex Bright, titled Will You, and hopefully you enjoy it. If you did, please do go show us some love by their various social medias and their Spotify page, and stay cool and stay safe, and please remember to support your local musicians and artists at this point in time, as they help more than ever with all the crazy stuff going on in the world. And I'll catch you in the next review. Spiderhands out.